two of you go on trips together, you're texting a lot, you're sending picture messages. Defendant moves you into a house in Lehigh, you're having sex more, he gives you a discretionary card, helps pay for your schooling, you communicate a lot, you tell a potential suitor your relationship is much more than that. In light of all this information, are you telling us you don't know anything more about Michelle's death?
That is correct.
Welcome to our recreated death scene here, HLN After Dark. We've got our prosecutor team, Mike Brooks, Simone Bien. We've got our After Dark defense here. We've got a recreated death scene back here. And, of course, our jury is with us. And our bold question is, who has a better alibi, Dr. McNeil or his mistress, Gypsy? So let's take a look at Gypsy's alibi. And if you follow what Gypsy did that day, she went from her home in Lehigh, went on the road that day through Salt Lake City, some coffee, some grocery shopping, some gas, get her car serviced, then off to Bountiful, Utah, and met her friend for some Indian food. But I think what we need to do, because I don't know my way around Utah, but I've got a map here. Mike, if you can help me with it, we'll just flip it over carefully, and I can show you where everything is, where she started, where she ended up, and what it all means. And please, After Dark Defense, if you see any holes in what I'm doing here, please let me know. Let me begin, though. She starts in Lehigh, which is about 7.8 miles away from Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove is the name of the town where the McNeils live. That's where Michelle McNeil died. She went on the road, car service, grocery store, some coffee, some gas. 38 miles away to Salt Lake City. That's where her car was being serviced. Then another 12 miles. 12 miles to Bountiful. Actually, 38 miles to Bountiful, 26 to Salt Lake City, 12 between here. But at 38 miles away in Bountiful, eating that Indian food.
Which is good, by the way.
Not 1.8 miles like Dr. McNeil.
I object. Okay, because she's doing too much. This is why you know it's fake. Why is she servicing her car 12 miles away, 38 miles away, however far away from her house? Why is she going to the grocery store before servicing her car?
Have you heard that women can multitask?
She's multitasking a little too much.
She knows what's going on. She's waiting to get that call from Dr. McNeil, but she wasn't there. That's all part of her alibi.
Dollars to donuts, they don't have any data to support any of what she's saying. Exactly. We're the people like Dr. McNeil who has people pictures. Take a picture.
He's got gaps of time. 38 miles away in Bountiful. Got to go on the highway here much, much further away, Ryan. I mean,
you know what?
How could she get from there all the way down here, over here, to be in that bathroom and then get back there to pick the car up?
Got a lot further to go than McNeil does. What do you think, David?
My question is, to the defense point, where are the receipts? Because if she was paying either by credit or debit card like I do for everything, there should be receipts for the gas, the groceries, the coffee, and her car being serviced.
And you know what's interesting? She's not on trial, so we're not seeing those receipts.
No.
And that was the prosecution's mistake. She should be indicted.
Really?
For what? No, it's called probable. You have to have probable
She's a co-conspirator
cause.
here.
And there's no probable cause to say that she had anything to do with the death.
Jump in. Let's get our juror in.
Does she only have one car? Does she maybe have two cars that she had if she only had one car serviced?
One car. She only has one car that we know of.
One car.
Just one car, Carlos?
Although Dr. McNeil did have more than one mistress in his life.
I didn't just throw that in there, okay, guys?
What time did she actually get her day started?
Right. Well, that's the window. That's the window. Could she have done it before she then went and covered her tracks and did all of these other activities that most people take weeks to accomplish? She does it all in one day.
Well, the one time that we do have is where she is and when she receives the text message from Dr. McNeil that Michelle McNeil has died, and that's around 4:30, and she's on her way to pick up her car in Salt Lake City.
Let me get one other juror question in here.
Well, how can Gypsy prove all of those stops from gas to groceries to coffee, the 38 miles from the Lehigh to Bountiful? How can she prove all of her junk? Okay, how can Gypsy prove her junk?
Right.
Even though she's not on trial. How can we prove that?
Maybe she probably can.
How can Gypsy prove her junk?
Well, number one,
even
though she doesn't have to.
Right. Right, and I think that's a great point. Well, that's a great point. I mean, does she have the receipts? Is this friend even existing? And she's a known liar, a convicted felon, and She's a mistress,
Yeah.
and he's the doctor.
Right.
You
and
decide.
She is a known liar.
Right.
And how can we tell that she's really telling
You
truth?
are not a fan of Gypsy. I can tell. You are not a fan of Gypsy.
She may have known, but there's no proof to say that she was involved in the murder.
Remember, it's a balance test. Who has a better alibi, Dr. McNeil or Gypsy?